with it right now. But thanks for joining me. I have with me Pramod Raheja. Pramod's a friend of mine actually from years back, and he runs a company called Airgility. And he has graciously volunteered to be the brave soul who's going to get his website dissected today. So Pramod, welcome. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me, Raj. Excited to learn from all the great things that you teach.
Well, thanks again. Yeah. So I appreciate you people joining us. What we're going to do today is go into Promote's website called Airgility, and we're going to look at the different opportunities that he's got. You may have seen some of my posts on LinkedIn. I post every Tuesday. I post an SEO tip. Had another one this morning, and so this live stream will be recorded, and then I'll place it up on my YouTube channel too, and then you'll be able to access it anytime. I hope to do more of these in 2024. So let's see how this one goes. It is my first try, and I'm a big believer in just pushing the start button and seeing how things go. So I welcome your comments. Let me start by sharing the screen of the of Airgility's website, and so we'll get that up right here. Let's get that live. Okay, I think I was looking at the bottom part of your page here. So this is the website. So as we get started here, Pramod, can you just share a little bit about what Airgility does?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Airgility, autonomy and artificial intelligence is our passion. We build flying robots. We also put the brains into flying robots, meaning that we're somewhat hardware agnostic to a large extent. Although we have created our own hardware product. One reason for that is, of course, you've got to prove what you can do. So we've proven that with our product called the Minotaur, which you see on the screen. It's a powerful product in terms of its capabilities and what's needed in the marketplace today. So we're moving forward with that. And, like any company, we want to optimize our marketing and how we do things and do it in the most economical manner we can. And so we're excited to learn today.
Yeah. So, as I was going through the site, when you think about it, if somebody were to type in your product's name, that would mean they need to know your product's name, and so you've already done some other marketing to get them there. But if they're looking for like use cases, things that will solve their problems, they won't necessarily find you because that type of content isn't yet on your site. And that's what we're going to fix today, is to figure out what is it that people are looking for that aligns with your buyer journey. And so that's actually the most important part of the full approach. So let me share this screen here. This is what a buyer journey typically looks like. And so let's see. I'm getting some comments here. Hey, Matt, I appreciate you being on. Let's see, you had to refresh to get it to show up. Don't worry about it. It's going to be recorded, so we'll get it to you soon too. So the buyer journey looks like this. People become aware that they have an issue that they need to solve, and then they get educated on it, and then they build trust with the person or company that they've gotten educated, and then they make the purchase. Nobody ever goes and just says, oh, I'm ready to wake up and I'm just going to go buy something today. They always want to have some degree of comfort. And usually what that means is that they read something or look at a video or somehow consume content. And that's what we're going to do, is figure out what can Airgility do to get educated to build that trust. Because once you do that, then you actually have a much higher chance of getting a purchase to happen. So a buyer journey looks like this. And what we want to do is map the content that we're going to be creating to the buyer journey. So I know a lot of SEO companies will say, okay, well, let's just start hammering out content. That might get you more eyeballs, but if it doesn't map to the actual buyer journey, it's a waste of time. And that was actually my post this morning about LinkedIn. On LinkedIn was there are SEO content that just is a complete waste of time. So this way we make sure we're not wasting our time. So it's awareness, research, use cases. So Pramod, maybe could you share some of the use cases? Why would someone purchase your product?
Sure, absolutely. So when we think of using drones, probably the majority of the public looks at a drone as something that can take pictures and things like that. And it is pretty cool. You can go online and see all kinds of cool drone videos. However, there's much more robust industrial use cases that large enterprise companies have needs for. So I'll give you a few examples that apply to what we do. Many companies that are in the oil and gas industry, energy industry, engineering industry have a need to inspect infrastructure periodically. And in some cases, they do it on their own. In other cases, there are federal requirements around those things. And the way that they do them today is typically very manual. So for example, if I'm an engineering company and I need to go up high and look at a tower and look at some structure or something like that, I typically am setting up some scaffolding and ladders and putting somebody up there. Not only is that time consuming, it's also dangerous. So we talk about money because of the time, and we talk about safety being its own ROI. And so our equipment can get into those confined, complex environments to conduct the inspections and take the danger away and also reduce the time significantly. So there's an ROI that the company essentially generates by not having to spend all that time doing it the way that they were doing it.
So that's a really good summary. And if I took something away from that as a keyword, that's how my brain works, right? Like you share something and I translate into what does that mean by keywords? I heard drone inspection. So if that's one of the use cases, what we're going to do next is figure out what kind of content to write about. Would that be a fair use case?
Absolutely.
Okay.
A great use case.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch screens and I'm going to go over to this one tool that I use. It's called SEMrush. If you have it already, great. If you don't have it, this is the link to it. I would appreciate if you clicked on this link, morebusiness.com/SEMrush. I get a few points from them for sending people, but it's one of the more expensive tools. There's actually several other tools that are much cheaper than this, not quite as robust, but I'm going to show you how to use this specific one for this purpose. So I've gone in here and I've typed drone inspection. We planned this ahead of time, drone inspection, and I did a search. And let me show you what pops up. So we've got things that promoter would probably not care about, like drone roof inspection. You don't do roof inspection, right?
No, you don't. And what we do is probably a lot more, I'd call difficult places to access versus a roof inspection that might be a little more commoditized because you can use sort of a standard commercial off-the-shelf drone to accomplish that. With our equipment, it's a little more mission specific, we'll call it, and use case specific.
So we're gonna get rid of the word roof from the list of terms. We're also gonna get rid of other things that probably don't make sense for you, like home. You're probably not doing home inspections, but you might be doing bridge inspections because those are pretty hard to access. So now we've trimmed it down to a smaller list, and now I'm gonna start doing something that really hones in on the easiest terms to go after. And this is one of the most overlooked steps that companies look at when they try to create content. You have to find something that's, especially if your site doesn't have a lot of traffic now, which means you probably don't have a lot of authority from Google. You want to start building that authority. And the easiest way is to find terms that have a low keyword difficulty. So what I do is I go over to this term, this column here, it says KD, it stands for keyword difficulty. And I'm going to pick something that's what it deems as very easy. So just a quick moment on what keyword difficulty is. Keyword difficulty is if you had, it's a number between 0 and 100. The lower the number, the easier it is to get ranked on something. So the sweet spot of what you're looking for is a term that's got low difficulty and a moderate to high search volume. All the ones with really high search volumes and low difficulty, all gone. SEO has been around for a while. So what you want to do is find something that's got a little bit more, at least some degree of traffic. So here, what we're going to do next is you see this I that stands for informational intent. So for example, drone power line inspection. Based on the research that this tool has done through Google and other things, it typically finds that people who search for that term are looking for information. They're not looking to buy something. So what we want to do is add another filter, and that is commercial intent. So if I click on this other column, now I've got terms that have commercial intent, and you can see wind turbine drone inspection, drone utility inspection, drone pipeline inspection. I think that's one of the things you guys do too, right? Best drone for bridge inspection. If you look at these, the keyword difficulty is turned dark green, which is the easiest to get ranked on. And you've got some things here like a difficulty level of 4, some of 8 and 7. This is gold right now. These are terms that you should like, if you wrote on, you have a good chance of getting ranked on. And then you can see the search volume here. This is US search volume, 90 searches in a month. So So tell me, Pramod, as you look at this list, do any of these terms sound like something that a prospect would type and you would be able to solve for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think these are all very relevant in terms of tools. I'm sorry, in terms of keywords that somebody might type in looking for solutions. Sure, I
Take a
agree
look
with
at this one. Cell tower drone inspection. So jobs. We don't want jobs. So I'm going to get rid of jobs here. We don't want those. But probably cell tower drone inspection could be another
that. Correct.
like use case for you, right? So we've
Correct.
actually come up with a whole bunch of use cases. So, and here's something that looks like in a different language. So I don't know that I would pursue that or not. But you can see here the ones that I would go after. I would start with, would wind turbine drone inspection be something for you?
Yes.
There, look at that, 140 searches, the difficulty level of 14. It says that was updated 4 weeks ago. So if I just click this this updater, it'll go find the current data and then come back and tell me what the current numbers look like. And that's the thing about SEOs; these numbers are always changing, so you have to keep at it. So still relatively good. It just came back with its keyword difficulty of 16 instead of 14, but 140 searches a month. That's pretty good. I mean, when you think about it, what 20 working days in a month, you get roughly 70 searches. I mean, was that 7 searches in a day? If you can get to the top 5 of Google, which you might be able to do, that's suddenly you've got all these potential leads that that we can work through. So so there's another approach you can take too, and there's a button here called related, and this will find other terms that it thinks are kind of like the term that you went and searched for. So I clicked on related and I found here drone asset inspections. Smaller search volume. You can see collectively these have smaller search volumes,
Mhm.
but also keyword difficulty. So here's the way you can do it. You can stack your keywords. Let me tell you what that means. If you're going to create an article, instead of just writing one article on wind turbine drone inspections, you might have related terms to that. You could create a page that just talks about drone inspection services, and then you can have a list of the different types of use cases you have there. So that way you can create a much longer article, which will contain lots of information, and you may be able to get ranked for that article for multiple terms. So that's one approach. But you want like related terms. You don't want something that's so completely different. So for example, wind turbine, you probably don't want to mix that up with cell tower, services, that kind of stuff. All right. By the way, since this is live, if you have any questions, I appreciate some folks chiming in with comments. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Santosh, for commenting. If you have any questions as we go through, just let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them on the fly. So so what we want to do is now come up with a piece of content that's actually related to this journey. And so we want to take a look. Well, is the content on your website right now? It actually is not. So let's figure out what we need to do to get that content on the site. The hardest thing that to do is actually write. I can tell you when I was running my companies, built a handful of companies and sold them, and my teams, I would tell them to write a piece, a blog, it would take weeks,
Yeah.
months, and I'd start
Yeah.
nagging them. Right? I mean, like, think about it yourself. Like, if I gave you a homework assignment right now, Promote, and I said, to really get ranked, you're gonna need to write all this content. You're probably just thinking, all right, I got other stuff to do, man. Right? So what we want to do is take the pain out of it, and this is the coolest thing that you can do with AI. So the idea here is your action plan starts with these keywords. That's what we just kind of looked at, some certain types of keywords. We're going to then create an outline using AI, and then we're going to record you talking about it because you're a subject matter expert on this. If I asked you questions about drone inspection, you'd be able to do that really quickly, right? We can then transcribe the article, get it converted into an actual post, which we then optimize. There's so much to do here. It's like I wouldn't be able to cover all of it in a 20-minute, 30-minute session here, and then repurpose it. And suddenly you've got the content just by speaking. It is a such an easy way to actually create your content fast. I want to go into another term, another approach to finding keywords too here, because I want to do that. That's like one of the big things, obviously, for finding stuff. So I went to your website, Pramod. I was looking at your different pages about the product, and I noticed on one of them it had the word perimeter defense. So I'm actually going to go back to my my keyword tool and say, let's take a look at what options we might have for perimeter defense. So let's type this in. So we want to get a list of different terms, perimeter
Mhm.
defense. And I'm going to go right now. It's still looking up. I've still got it set for these filters. Let me go to broad match. So now first thing it comes back with is volleyball. Not what you want, right? So so let's get rid of that. But if we see here, let me get rid of a couple of these other things. Here, commercial intent also. Get rid of volleyball. Get rid of some of these other terms. Security seems to be one that pops up. So if I look here and say, okay, drone perimeter defense, that's something you do, right?
Yeah, well, we have a solution around that. That is I would call. So the answer is yes, depending on the solution. So
Okay.
without going into all the details right now, which we don't have time for, we're going to just say yes.
Okay. All right. So what I can do here is I'm going to go take a look and see who's currently ranked number 1, 2, 3, 4 for that term. Okay. So if I go in here, I see this company called flightbase.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a search here since we've kind of planned for this live stream. We
Yeah.
actually looked at a couple of different sites, and Flightbase seems to come up for a lot of terms that are related to what Promote also does. So what I'm going to do is instead of trying to hunt for all these terms on our own, I'm going to leverage someone else's SEO work. It's all perfectly ethical because it's all out there. It's data. All you're doing is looking at what they've done. So I'm going to click on their URL and see what they come back with here. So let's just take a look at what Flightbase. I'm going to compare their list of keywords. Just give me a moment here to get to their keyword page. All right, now it's coming back, and they're ranked on 740 keywords. That's a lot of work I've just saved myself. What are these 740 keywords? Well, you probably won't be able to get ranked on all of them, especially the ones that have higher difficulty, these yellow dots and so on. So I want to go back to the keyword difficulty and say, I just want to find the terms that they're ranked on that are easy. Oops, easy. And the ones that have commercial intent. So it's good to put informational intent, like just how-to articles. What is perimeter defense? That's all fine and good, but we also want to have, we want a mix of both. So now what I've done here is I've again done a filter, and it's going to come back and show me what they're actually ranked on. Now, do any of these terms resonate with you? We've got drone pipeline inspection. They're ranked number 3. That was one thing you mentioned, right?
Yeah, it's not something we're doing right now. It may not be the best fit, but there's a number of other things in here, and yeah, that's relevant to the world that we're in, but
Yeah.
maybe not exact for us. But there are many other terms in here.
So as you go through, now look, here's one that we found. Let me just click on this one. Drones with night vision.
Yeah.
This is a low difficulty and a lot of search volume. They're only ranked 66th on this. So now your products have night vision, right?
Correct. We can fly in any type of lighting condition, so that would be appropriate.
So this would be a great term to actually pursue for an article. This might be actually the first one I do because it's got such a high potential with the higher search volume here. Now, when it comes to night vision, the other term that I know your product also addresses is collision avoidance, right?
Absolutely.
So look at this. Without all of these words being on your website, without you thinking of them, we just went to a competitor's website, did a search to see what they're ranked on, and bingo.
Yeah.
In like minutes, we found a whole bunch of really relevant keywords. So now what we want to do is we want to go back and look at this plan. So we've got keywords. The next step is to create an outline. So what I'm going to do is hop over to our good old friend ChatGPT. I have the paid version, $20 a month. I love it. It's and I've typed this prompt. I'm going to record a dialogue on this topic: drones with night vision. Create an outline of sections that I should include and add 3 bullet points for each section on topics that I can talk about in my conversation. Now, this last line is pretty important here, is include these keywords in the outline so that I remember to say them during my conversation. So we had drones with night vision, which was, I guess, the first one, and then drone collision avoidance. All right, I'm going to let just good old ChatGPT start cranking through. Oh, jeez. And use luck too. Yeah, I have no idea why it says so. Yeah, wouldn't you know it? Yeah, just when we're going live, ChatGPT decides to have a hiccup.
Here
But
we go.
oh,
It's
here we
working
go.
now.
All right, you get the gist. It's working now. So I'm going to let this crank away while I go back to this keyword to see other terms I might be able to find. So I noticed that one thing that popped up was perimeter security, not so much perimeter defense. And so if I add another term, perimeter security, I can start to see, are there other things that I might want to get ranked on? And here's one, perimeter security system, pretty good search volume, and you can just keep going down. And there's some specific ones like based on location, but there's probably some things that you could pull out of here, right? Not home perimeters, but perimeter security tools, perimeter security. Well, there's services. Well, so there's probably use cases you could pull out of it. I guess the one I would get from this one is perimeter security system. So let's go take a look at how ChatGPT has come along so far. In just like minutes, it's actually come up with an outline of what you could write about as an article. And since you're a subject matter expert, Pramod, if we went through this and said, hey, what are the benefits of drones with night vision? Go. You would be able to talk about it just like that, right? You don't have to write. You don't have to open a vein and write, as they say. You just start talking about it. I don't know that the evolution would make any sense for you. So you just pick and choose what you want. Types of night vision technologies. Could you talk about this? Would this make sense for you? Thermal imaging, infrared sensors, all that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Those are sensor based, and we're not sensor experts per se, but we know enough to help decide what makes sense for a particular use case.
There you go. And then the collision avoidance, and you can talk about low light, dark conditions. So now if we actually wrote an art, like had a dialogue, just using this outline and just went down this use cases, search and rescue missions, I don't know, wildlife monitoring. I don't know if that's like something that you do or not, but navigational challenges in the dark. When you talk about all this, you can actually come up with probably a 15-minute dialogue on a really rich, set of like information for people. So then we go, now that you've recorded yourself, and by the way, how do you record yourself? Just hop on a Zoom call, look at the outline that ChatGPT created, and just start talking. If you work better with a partner, then just have one of your colleagues, teammates, somebody else read the questions to you as prompts, and then you just answer. And I do this to actually do a lot of my content because it's easier for me to just talk it out loud. And then I go back and I make some edits. But when I speak, I make sure I use the terms that we talked about. So as you would talk, Promote, you would say drones with night vision, drone collision avoidance multiple times in the conversation so that the words are naturally embedded into the transcript. And that's really easy to do. So your transcript is actually already SEO keyword rich based on the keyword research that we did. It's not random words, it's intentional. And then now we can get that converted into an article. There's ways. ChatGPT's got this new thing where you can create your own GPT. So I'm actually trying to develop one that takes a podcast transcript or any kind of transcript and converts it into an article. Or you can hire a really low-cost writer to do that for you, maybe a college student, an intern, something like that. They're not subject matter experts, but all they're doing is taking the text that you've got and making it into an article. And then we would pepper it with all kinds of SEO stuff. We're going to cover that on future broadcasts. I know we're limited on time for this one, but that's the gist of how you actually come up with some pretty wicked, cool, ways to get that going.
So, this is great. Absolutely. I've learned some good things here, including some hacks and methodologies that I think anybody can benefit from.
Yeah. So we got a couple of questions here. I'm going to share one of them. So Santosh is asking, how could this help a service-based company? Great question. Okay. So while we did this one for a product company, the same thought process applies to a service-based company. And let me just kind of go to this one. I'm going to go back to my buyer journey slide. And this is really the one that you want to answer. So let me pop that up on the screen. If you can address this slide, Santosh, which is what are the things that your buyers are thinking about right now? What are the broken processes they might have? So for yours, it's QuickBooks related, right? So accounting related. So you could talk about the 5 most common QuickBooks setup mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they start their first business. something like that. Those are problems that people have. These are the pain points. And then as people research things, you could write a piece about 20-minute fast track QuickBooks setup and make a video out of that and just describe that. Now you've got content that, I mean, it's a competitive industry, so there may be related content out there, but as you start thinking through some of these terms, you could pop them into the keyword research tools to help you identify what some of those might be. So hope that addresses some of the questions there, but you can use this process for products, services, anything you want to sell. Thank you very much for joining me on this and for being my guinea pig. I really appreciate it. We go back many years. We actually went to college together, and so I appreciate him volunteering, and I'm glad you got something out of it, because I can see so much low-hanging fruit that if you addressed this right now, just got your questions ready,
Yep.
and started writing about it, you're going to start to see traction, because we saw a few things, the collision avoidance, night vision, perimeter security systems. So those kinds of things can help you. It's a lot different than
Absolutely.
what's on your site right now. So,
Thank you, Raj. Yes,
all right.
pleasure to do this, and hopefully our audience got some good tips. I certainly did.
All right. Very good. Thanks again, everybody. We're going to do another live stream like this. By the way, if you want to have your website dissected, I'm happy to do that. I've actually already got people lined up through probably end of February right now. And we're going to do these maybe once every 2-3 weeks to give some guidance, because I personally learn a lot better through examples than anything else. And I think other people do too. So, all right. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.